Oh my God!
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen that. Oh, my hand is shaking. The world seems on fire.
Cool. Ben, great to have you.
Robbie, my friend, thank you so much for having me. It's been too long.
Absolutely. So we lived next to each other in college.
Yes, we did.
That's our backstory.
Yes.
And now we're here.
And now we're here.
So something you mentioned before we started recording was the suit you're wearing was the suit you wore at the event.
This is the exact same suit that I was wearing, just a different shirt. And if you can see it, I have grass stains on my knees from when I hit the deck. Got one on that knee and then one on this knee.
Dang. Well, let me, before we continue, let me record on my phone too, just in case.
Most definitely.
And then let me.
I want to thank you very much for having me.
Thank you
it's
for
good
coming.
to catch up. You're an old friend, and I'm sure. What's the name of your podcast?
My podcast is called Don't Post This Podcast.
Really? Okay.
Yes. The whole idea was just me getting back into recording and just kind of wanting to edit and film stuff again. We'll see if this is posted. I think it will be.
It better be.
Something like this.
There's a wonderful man named Sean Cano, and he does this VRA Academy, and he always says, just press record.
Absolutely.
You know, what's the worst thing that can happen? You get canceled and your life's over? No.
Dude, you got canceled once, but here you are, right?
Oh, that doesn't count.
That doesn't
count. No, that wasn't political or anything. That was just me.
Just college stuff.
Just college stuff. Sure, that's what we'll call it.
Well, let's dive right into this big thing. So, the whole summary of this, you were at the attempted assassination of Donald Trump.
Yes, I was.
So, firstly, you met President Trump.
Yes,
what was
I did.
that like?
It was an absolute pleasure. If you want to know what Donald Trump is like, think of Donald Trump on TV, and he's just like that.
Wow.
He was incredibly nice. He was excited, happy. He seemed in great health. Like, he had a lot of energy. His handshake was very strong, and I was a little almost not ready for that. It was great to meet him. We had a few moments to talk, and funny enough, right before I met him, he had to pause. They had lined us up in alphabetical order, and he had to pause, and then they'd call us into this room. He had paused because he had to talk to his staff that he needed to have something ready for his speech. And I can't say this 100% certainly, but with about 90% certainty, he was talking about the graft that would save his life.
Wow.
And that is insane. I'm standing there watching him talk to his staff, nicely, but the commanding presence that he has. And I go there up, and I have to make sure I wipe my hand on my pants because I was sweating so much. One of the few times I was actually quite nervous. But very nice, had a few moments to talk with him. And then Secret Service took us back out.
What was the event like? I'm assuming right after that you were kind of walking to where you'd be sitting. I'd like to know, I have a little graphic here. Firstly, I'd like to know where you were sitting.
So I was directly left of the stage if you're facing it in the VIP guest, special guest section.
Okay. So we have kind of a rough image here. So were you kind of
Yes, I was directly there. The sniper was directly behind me. On
so
top
you were
of
in the
that
line
building.
of fire.
I was directly in the line of fire, and tragically, the person about 10 feet behind me, right behind me, was shot, and I believe they were the person that passed. And now I also have to say that so I was those stands, literally where that bullet passes. I was where your cursor is. Move it up just slightly. Third row back, directly in front of the stage, so actually a little forward. Down, I would have been right there.
Wow. Okay.
If the bullet had been, if the shot was just a little lower, because as you can see, it passes over the stands that were directly behind the VIP section.
Yeah.
Thank you for having a graph. Nobody else not a single other person's brought it up. And the counter sniper. Yeah.
So did you see the other snipers start firing?
After the first series of shots, and we can kind of go chronologically maybe, but after the first series of shots, I have to say that I was, it's funny, I say that, it's not funny, but I say to my friends that when everybody else is calm, I panic. When everybody else panics, I'm calm. My head went totally clear. It was become smallest target possible, extract from area as fast as possible. But yeah, so I was directly left of the stage.
So Trump being here, you were around in this
I
area?
was literally the third seated row, and the person who was directly behind me on the stands was hit. I was right there, right where you have your cursor. And the Texas Ag Commissioner was in front of me and to my right, and the mayor of Slippery Rock was right in front of me.
So what was the energy like before the moment? I know it happened relatively to the start of when you started speaking.
I'd say it was 5 minutes maybe.
Wow. What was people's energy vibe before and after?
Well, the moment he'd come out, people were super pumped. People were super excited, very happy, cheering. We love Trump chants, I believe, USA. It was a classic Trump rally, what you'd imagine, what you've seen on TV. What we've seen and been at on TV and in person. It was the exact same thing. The moment that the shots went off, confusion was the main thing. I know what a gun sounds like. And I knew those were gunshots. I ducked, I yelled shooter, I looked behind me, and I just see, all I could see by this point was a lower torso and legs, and a lot of blood. Blood was everywhere. And then I turn around, I see the president holding up his fist, and I did not think he'd been hit, because that takes a lot of courage to go and hold up your fist after being shot.
Right.
The shots sounded relatively quiet to me. I thought that someone had pulled out a handgun right behind me. And you know I'm deaf in one ear, so my directional hearing isn't great. I thought they were right behind me. And so after looking between them, then I got down prone on the ground. I mean, a lot of us know what to do if there's a shooter. I'm not armed, I'm not a professional. 10 feet away, the person who'd been hit was already surrounded by people. And of course, condolences to the family, a speedy recovery to everyone injured, especially the president. I may make a full recovery. 10 feet behind me, too far for me to offer assistance. The person's already surrounded by people. Nothing I can do but stay out of the professional's way, be the smallest target possible, and then extract from the area as quickly as possible.
There's been reporting that moments before, people started to warn about a man with a gun.
Okay.
I don't know, did you hear any of that commotion of people pointing out the assassin?
I did not. What I think is important to say is the moment the shooting started, people's first reaction was saying, somebody snuck fireworks in. That was the first reaction. Many people didn't get down right away. They were looking around. Some people got up on chairs to look around.
Really?
And it was only when they saw the person that had been wounded. And there were also many screams. I don't really remember the screaming. Kind of after the shots started, I have a vague memory of the screaming, but there was a lot of screaming. But people were confused. I remember as I was still looking at the president when the shots went off, and it was pop, 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 or almost like a cartoon sound of the bullet,
Oh, the ricochet?
I mean, or how it was passing over my head. I mean, it literally passed over, because I was right there, the president was literally 20, 30 feet in front of me, and I was right there, and he goes like this, and I thought that it was the noise. I did not see the blood come off.
You saw him react to
I saw him react, and then I looked away, I looked behind me, and then when I looked back, he was holding up his fist, and he was already surrounded by Secret Service. They were fast on him. I mean, and the whole stage was surrounded by them, and I'm pretty sure that I can mention this, backstage there was a whole tactical team, 20 or 30 military guys, fully geared, body armor, helmets, rifles, and I turn around, I'd seen the person, I looked back, Trump was holding up his fist, and then I get down, but it was, if it was just a little different, it would have been me.
That's insane. I can't imagine living through that, right? Because there's probably a lot of chaos. Did you leave the stadium immediately or the area?
So it was about, what I just described to you happened in about the span of 5-10 seconds. I was on the ground, I was yelling shooter, Everybody was getting down. The mayor of Slippery Rock, he was shielding his pregnant wife and his sister with his own body, and also the man who passed was a firefighter, a hero, and he was shielding his own family when he got hit. And to the best of my knowledge, that was the person behind me. I may be incorrect on that, but based, and I apologize if this is obscene to say, based on the amount of blood that there was, I don't think somebody could survive that, but I don't know. And if, God bless them and may their family find peace. My goal was to get as far away as fast as possible because I thought a firefight was going to break out.
Oh, really?
I thought they hadn't found the shooter because I still, at the point I'm on the ground, I'm still thinking there was a man with a pistol in the stands. I was thinking that the person that had been shot had been hit right next, basically like very close, because the shots were quiet. They were quiet shots. But I had gone, and that's the mayor right there.
We can go through some of these images that you sent me.
I'll walk you through what I was saying, but I'd say about 5 to 10 minutes, it becomes a little foggy here, is when I was able, there was a man because there were senators, congressmen, ambassadors all in this VIP section, and this guy in a black suit, earpiece, I assume Secret Service, had come to us and he said, we need to go. And he was directing us towards the exit. And what's insane is I looked at the building where the sniper was. It was swarming with tactical soldiers. And they had also swarmed the stands where the person had been shot.
Excuse me.
You're good. That building, I saw what I thought was a soldier lying down. It was not, it was the body of the sniper.
On the building?
On the building.
Okay.
And I'm 90% sure that I'm correct on that because I thought it was a soldier lying down, looking over, but it was all these guys standing on the roof with their rifles. The whole building had been swarmed by them. And then by that point, I was able to get out and I, by chance, stumbled into a friend of mine, Sammy, a guy I hadn't seen in like a year. And he was like, oh, hey, Ben, I got a car. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. Were you by yourself at
I was
this
by
event?
myself, yes.
Wow, what is the luck of that? Just finding a friend and...
I know, it was insane. The whole thing was crazy, but that was providence, the grace of God. Grace of God, I wasn't hit. I had my rosary beads, and these are the exact rosary beads that I had in my pocket. And I remember grabbing them, and I was thinking, let me not get hit. And when I hit the ground, I pulled out my phone and I sent a quick text to my parents. I said, love you, not hit, on ground. And then I texted my girlfriend. I said, love you, not hot, on ground, because my hands were shaking a little bit. The normal amount of adrenaline. I wasn't really nervous at the time. I was just kind of like the coldness that kind of comes over me when it's a bad situation.
Absolutely.
I can definitely walk you through everything.
There's this graphic, I don't know if you've seen, that's just been released.
Yes. If he had not turned his head, I've seen this. If he had not turned his head,
turn that down. But this is insane.
He would be
talking
dead.
about looking at the graphic.
We're talking a quarter of an inch, if not less.
This right here.
And he turned to talk about that graph. It's, that graph saved his life. It is, some would say, a miracle. It is.
Yeah, talk about providence. That's insane.
It is insane.
I feel like people don't understand the gravity of, an inch could have caused our country to descend into chaos. Just in a moment, this timeline exists, and it could have not. It could have been really bad.
You're 100% right.
And all the people saying there's always going to be people that say stuff about wishing that he actually died, but I'm I don't think you actually know what you're asking for.
It's
I feel like it would have triggered a civil war.
I fully condemn any type of political violence.
Yeah. And
I think that I don't want to see any politician get hurt. This is America. We don't want that. That's not what we do. We vote. And the fact that he was saved by a hair's breadth. Now, some would say, and it's a miracle, and it seems like it, and I feel very extremely blessed to be alive. but it is absolutely crazy to think about.
What do you think the country, if not the world, would look like if he actually got killed that day?
A very sad place. I have to say that I don't know if there'd be as much chaos. I do think that there would be perhaps some, but overall I think that people would just be in shock, and people would be deeply disturbed and very sad.
Now, I know there's been a lot of talk, this day and age, information is so messy. That's kind of why I brought you here, because it's like eyewitness testimony is so vital in a situation like this, because years pass and then people start debating what really happened. Do you think there's any sort of external nefarious forces that were behind it? Was it just a guy that's off his rocker that just kind of was set off one day and decided to kill the president? Or do you think there's other sort of mysterious forces behind the scenes that are like planning things like this?
I don't think that this was a setup. I don't think that there were any shadowy thing.
And on the other end, people have been calling it staged.
This wasn't staged. There's no way. There's no way. This was a crazy guy who wanted to kill Trump. And he was, I thought security was pretty tight. I thought security was pretty good. There were tons of them. And I think that he had just somehow this happened.
What do you think that was? Do you think it was just like negligence from the Secret Service?
I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on these things. And to me, when I got this opportunity, I had to give my social security number, driver's license number, picture of me. Forgive me, I think the picture was on something else, but social security, driver's license number. But this wasn't staged. This wasn't, it's too hard in our modern age to have these massive conspiracies that people think of. Now, are there people who have aligning interests that work together towards certain things? Yes, but this was a crazy guy. All this incident was one, and forgive me if this sounds a bit harsh, one nut job who tried to assassinate the president. And there is no way to have a shot like that and actually be sure that if there are people that think this was something staged, it wasn't. The blood on that man, when I turned around and saw all of that, that wasn't fake blood. That was real. That was a horror. That was a event that'll haunt my nightmares. And the president, there's no way that the turning of the head and everything like that, the wind could have adjusted a bullet. It could have tumbled in the air. The guy's shot could have been just a little different. Even a trained sniper could not make a shot that happen like that.
That's what I was thinking, because, kind of as the moment happens, your brain just goes everywhere, and it's like trying to formulate it rationally, like, what is this going on? And so for a brief moment, I kind of entertained the idea of it being staged, but then even then, it seemed unlikely, because first of all, would Trump even agree to something like that close, right? Talking about like maybe putting blood in the ear, but that doesn't make any sense. Or even like say that there was a shooter and, they wanted to set this up for him to get more votes. It's like, would he play with his life that close just to win the election? Like, I don't think that's
I don't think
viable.
so. The man that I met moments before he got shot was in a great mood. He was super happy. He was like, and I know this might sound like an odd description, but he was like jolly. He was really nice and super happy and calm. There was no indication that he was happy. He was like excited to give this talk and everything. No, this wasn't fake. This was a very real thing, and there's no way this was staged because, and also too, in the section I was in, we were surrounded by people that are the so-called elites. Or I was surrounded by people that I was not important, but I was around people like that, and I doubt if this was some conspiracy people like that are going to agree to have bullets going over their head.
Right. I suppose we can go through some of these images you sent me.
Most certainly. I do want to caution you that some of these images may not be appropriate for YouTube.
Okay, we can definitely censor it.
Okay, there's blood directly next to the leg of that man. I have some zoomed in photos.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The tactical team had dragged the body out.
So these bleachers.
The person that was injured.
Yeah, and feel free to stop me if it's too much.
Oh, it's okay.
These are the bleachers to the left of where you were sitting, or
so these
behind
are
the president?
The bleachers directly behind me. I was looking at the president's right ear. So I was looking at him, and he was talking to the crowd straight on. I was on the left, and these bleachers were to the side, and as you saw in the diagram before, slightly behind me. And so this picture's taken, I'd say, you can see the graph that saved his life is still up there.
Yeah.
The staffer agent, the blood is next to him. I have some others that are more zoomed in, but I took this probably 5 to 10 minutes. I believe that's where the shooter was. Is that correct?
This warehouse, this looks familiar.
Yes.
Oh, you're seeing, yeah, look at these tactile
Yeah,
guys.
so there was a body up there. I'm not sure if by this point it was moved. I'm 90% sure that I saw that. It is a little hazy in my mind.
Sure.
But also, too, something to make note of is that this was outside of the fence perimeter. Mm-hmm. There were security patrolling all outside, but the fact that it was outside of everything, that people, and when it happened, people didn't know, and there was no cell service because everyone was on their phones. So it was conjecture and rumors spreading throughout the crowd. A lot of people were saying Trump got killed, Trump got shot. Well, they were saying that Trump got shot in the head, which, forgive me, let me not assume anything. They were saying that. Then they were saying that he got hit. Many people were saying he didn't get shot. Many people were saying it was just fireworks. Uh-huh. But from, I would say, the points where people were wounded or tragically killed is where the higher level of concern spread. And I also, too, was very worried that there would be multiple shooters.
Really, like a second, third shooting?
I was very concerned about that. And I was also very concerned about a firefight breaking out in the crowd between Secret Service or military. I know they're trained for those type of things, but I still was worried about it. I think.
Yeah, some of these images.
I have some that were, if you zoom in there, and you probably want to censor this for YouTube, but that is all.
Is the individual there, or did they take him away?
I believe by this point they've taken him away.
It looks like someone with blood on their hands.
And there's some where the people have blood on their shirts. Multiple people tried to render aid. There's a doctor that had been performing CPR, but what I saw, if it is that one individual, from what I saw, the individual was unresponsive.
Wow.
There was a lot of blood. I mean, it was everywhere. That picture only shows a portion of it.
Have you seen this shot of the image
Oh
capturing
my God.
the bullet?
Yeah, have you not seen this?
Oh my God!
Yeah. So a photographer in the moment actually caught the moment he was hit and the bullet whizzing behind him.
That's the first time I've seen that.
Unbelievable.
Oh, my hand is shaking.
It's insane. It is insane.
Oh my God.
There's been some insane, photos from this entire thing.
That sort of, for me, show the miraculous nature of this whole thing.
Amen. It's a miracle. It's a miracle, and I know this might seem odd to bring up, but if people are saying the flag was like an angel before and then
I saw that too.
untangled, but no, it's a miracle. It's a miracle because, he turned his head to look at that graph, and the fact that he turned his head our way, to look at that specific screen and not the other way, and then to show such defiance. To be brave enough to literally be shot and your face is covered in blood and you hold up a fist and you yell, fight, fight, fight. That takes some, and forgive me for saying this, that takes some balls.
Absolutely.
That shot is going to live down in history. That is the most iconic shot of our lifetime,
And you
I
were
believe.
there, yeah. Hopefully there's
I
not
saw
a more
him,
iconic one, right?
hopefully.
Yeah.
I saw him hold up his fist. And I remember the Secret Service were all trying to protect him and keep him
Yeah, you'll talk to your grandkids about that.
Yeah, it was
Incredible.
crazy. It was crazy.
That's why I'm like, this has
This
to
is
be
incredible that you're
blowing
doing
your
this.
mind. Absolutely.
And
'Cause
the
this is
fact that I literally 30 minutes before I shook that hand that's held up in the air and I spoke to that man is
Yeah.
insane to think about.
How do you think you would have reacted if he did get shot right in front of your eyes?
I was about to say that too. Like, yeah, what do you like? How would you react? And what do you think the world would look like?
My biggest
had he
thing.
been killed in that moment.
My biggest thing would be, of course, the first things that would come to mind are the things I need to do. Second would come that it's a very dark day, and that the world is going to hurt, and that I would pray that there wouldn't be chaos. I'd pray that there wouldn't be any violence. I feel that if I had seen that happen, because I was looking at him when it happened, I was looking at him and I was getting ready on my Instagram to do something. I don't even remember, it's kind of foggy in my mind. And I saw him do this. I mean, I was looking at him, and if that had been a different thing where something really horrific, even more horrific than this, had happened, my first thought would be, Ben, you need to get the heck out of here because things are going to get really bad. You don't know what's going on. And I find out later that the sniper had a car full of IEDs, apparently.
Yeah.
And that I was walking on the street with Sammy trying to get to his car. I mean, what if that had gone off? And there's shrapnel everywhere, and I mean...
There's new footage released saying that he was like walking around the perimeter beforehand. People were catching him, like, hey, this guy's suspicious. He's walking around, this guy has a gun, he's climbing up to the top. It seemed like law enforcement was not really taking their warnings seriously.
From what I saw, now take in mind I was in the perimeter and I showed up at 8 a.m. and made sure that I was one of the first people in the VIP line to be there. Since 1 o'clock I'd been at my seat. I was in there perimeter the whole time. I didn't see... there was no indication of it until it happened. For me, as for law enforcement, there was a ton of security, and I don't know how it happened, and I wouldn't want to supersede any experts on that.
Right, and
I'm no expert.
More information's coming out day by day. I'm curious. I just thought of this. There's so many. He has so many rallies. Out of all of them he could have had, what motivated you to come to this one in particular?
I received an email inviting me as a special guest. As you guys know, that I don't always speak about it as publicly, but I've become more and more politically active with many different groups and organizations out here and across the country. And my end game has always been to go into politics. Somehow, and it's amazing to me, I got an email from them. They had heard about my longtime support of the president and my brain tumor. I thought the email was fake. And it had the big Trump campaign. I'm sorry I didn't bring it. I have it all printed out. I have my nameplate even because it's all crumpled up now. But one of the first photos I sent you is that I got that email. I was thinking there's no way this is real. But when I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, this is real. It was from the Trump campaign, and I had to then fill out a form. And it was, and forgive me about this, I was so excited at the time before I knew this would happen. I was giddy, I was so nervous, I was excited. And they said, did you have the opportunity to have a meet and greet with a president? I click on, the Secret Service type link to fill out my information. It opens a secure browser. I felt like James Bond. It pulled up a thing, closed my tabs, opened it up. I had to fill out Social Security, driver's license, ton of other information about myself. And then I sent that in. I got approved. I got an email back with the details. And I found out Thursday. I got invited on Thursday. And to be clear, I was a special guest of the Trump campaign. And it was one of the greatest honors of my life. And I was overjoyed. I got on a plane Thursday, arrived Friday, went at the earliest time that the gates opened on Saturday.
Wow. Little did you know.
Little did I know that it would be a day that would live in infamy.
Life-changing. And you've obviously from this gotten a lot of opportunity on the media, getting on Fox News, on Univision, on, local news in Austin.
CNN had published an interview, and I believe the New York Times did not ask me for comment, but they had taken portions of other interviews that I did.
Yeah, and obviously I'm sure there's more to come. So, kind of with all that in mind, what is something that you've noticed after seeing all of that the media gets wrong about the event?
Great question.
I don't know, that is a great question. You might forgive me if this sounds like I'm not giving an answer. It has been a whirlwind, and it's all kind of foggy in my mind, and I don't 100% remember all the questions that everyone's asked. I would say, overall, it's people just asking questions about what happened. And as a guest, a special guest there, and as someone who was directly in the line of fire, it's a horrific event, but I can give a credible first-hand testimony to the fact that this was a very real thing. This wasn't staged. This wasn't fake. This was a horrible event that could have changed the country forever. That the president could have, the former president could have died. And thank God that he didn't. But yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I ask, I just know, people jump to conclusions, fill in the gaps.
I would say maybe the conspiracy theories. If it's people
Yeah.
saying that, then that would be something I would denounce.
I found it so interesting on the, both sides instantly have their conspiracies. Usually it's kind of, you find it more on one side, but now both sides, like one side's staged, the other side, law enforcement allowed that to happen and wanted it to happen. And, people all have their opinions on that.
I feel it's, I don't know, I feel it's disrespectful to say that. I mean, security was tight, and Secret Service, metal detectors when you arrived, they were all there. And then as for conspiracy theories, I think there's no way to have all these variables and have it line up just right.
Right.
There's no way. I mean, this was crazy. And so, forgive me for interrupting you.
No, it's okay. And like I said, this night, this blew my mind, right? But even more so, when I saw that you were there, that added even more insanity to my reality. And I know it did to Kasdan too.
We were freaking out, and then I left the house or something, and it's I don't even. It grounds the event in reality. I feel like having someone we know that was also there.
I can 100% say this was a real thing and a shock.
We initially heard it from someone else that texted us. They were like, Benjamin Shrader was there, and we thought it was a joke.
I'm honored.
Yeah, of course. And then we loved your story.
Yeah.
And that's
it's the one of you, the meet and greet, and it's like...
He was there, oh my gosh, out of all people. Which, if you're okay with, we can watch your story of that day.
Please,
Okay.
I don't 100% remember what I put up.
Okay, let's go through it. So it starts off nice, but then there's a major turn.
So I can walk you through a little bit if you want to
please.
pause it. So the instant that I got these pictures, so they took two. They took our phones. And when we went into the room with President Trump, we had to give the Secret Service our phones. And they took one picture on our phone and one picture with a camera. And there were a bunch of other cameras, a ton of lights. The room was really dark. As you can see, I did not know where to look. I looked at my phone. The president looked at the regular camera. So it was funny that before the tragedy, this was one of the happiest days of my life.
What did he tell you, by the way? I'm curious about
Did he
that.
talk about your outfit?
No, he was super nice. I mean, he was like, and then we talked about a few things after, which one day I'll talk about. But I had said, Mr. President, it's the greatest honor of my life to meet you. And he said, oh, thank you so much. And he said, oh, here, come stand next to me. Let's get our picture. And we got the picture, and then he was like, oh, what brought you out today? And I said, oh, well, I had a golf ball-sized brain tumor, and, I'd always wanted to meet you. I think he didn't say this, but I had gotten the feeling from his staff that this was almost like a Make-A-Wish type thing. I'm serious. And some other news companies have used that quote.
And they just kind of like, this guy, we've brought him here,
Because
it's a big day for him.
I think it was...
He came all the way out here for this.
Oh my gosh, forgive me for laughing, but I think too it's that I don't want to get into specific organizations, but I've become quite involved with numerous political and Republican organizations in the state. And so I think the fact that, because I don't know Trump people. Like I've passed by some and talked to some people that know some people, but I don't like know. After this, I've met some of them, but I don't have like a
first name basis.
Yeah, no way. And so I think the fact that I've become more involved out here, I guess perhaps some of the work that I'd done, and then the fact that I had this brain tumor, and I'll always turn to show you, it's funny too because I rushed to get a haircut. Excuse me for being but I rushed to get a haircut that Thursday because I said, okay, I gotta have it short so that people believe me. Because people will say, "Oh, you're what, brain tumor?" But yeah, he had said, "Oh my," he didn't say, "Oh my God" or "Oh my gosh." I think he said, "Wow." Yeah. It's a little foggy in my mind talking to him, but he was super nice and he was. It was funny because I think we think of presidents as these. We think of presidents as these. Like they're almost not real, like they're these celebrities or...
You only see them on TV or your phone, so it's like when you see them in real life, you're like, whoa.
And I'd been to one other Trump rally in 2016 in high school, and then I'd seen him speak a couple times at, I believe, one convention and then at CPAC, but I'd never been close before. This was the first time that I was close seeing him, and the first time I touched him with this hand. And I don't look at anybody as some kind of messianic figure, but I do see him as a great man, and I do believe that for any flaws people see in him, that he's doing his best, and he seems to care. And he was incredibly nice to me. He was really happy and excited.
That's awesome.
It was a great honor.
That's got to be surreal.
It is.
Just a series of events. We can keep going if you like.
Sure.
So this is after. So you met him. This is
That's
you
exactly where I was sitting. You can actually see. I believe. Okay, I believe what I had here. So I moved up to the second row. So directly, I was in the third row, and here I'm at the. I'm at the second row from the stage. My chair would have been in the third row, which was right behind the second. And that's right. The stage is.
If you're looking at Trump, you'd be to the left.
Yes, but looking at me right here, Trump would have been on stage, right behind me and a little bit to the right. But yes, the left of Trump.
Okay.
Then that's me and my nameplate, Benjamin Shrader, Trump.
I watched this right after it happened, so this was eerie to watch.
As you can see, I'm 20, 30 feet.
Yeah, like this. Okay, so this is from your seat?
Yes, this is from my seat.
Wow.
Yep, that's exactly from my seat.
So this is him coming out.
That's him coming out. He's right there.
This is so eerie.
It's funny.
Gotta say, it's very.
It is. This is like moments before disaster. This is.
How long into the event did the shooting happen?
You said about
5 minutes.
Yeah.
I believe
God.
it was right away. I believe the exact time has been put out there. It was 7 or 8 minutes, but in my mind, it felt like 5 minutes.
Yeah, he just started talking.
He just started talking.
I'm surprised he's got right in the stats.
Well,
if he didn't move to show this.
He was excited, and that's why I'm almost positive that's what he was talking with his people about, because he was like, Susan or some name. We have to make sure that my something is ready, and I'm almost positive he was talking about the graph that would save his life.
Wow.
He liked that graph a lot apparently, and he really likes it now. I'm sure.
I'm sure he does. Let's keep going.
He's right there. That
really
shot
close.
does it justice.
Sorry. So within this,
and forgive me for saying shot. That picture does it justice.
Choice of word.
Yeah. I had someone message me and they said, "I hope Trump gets another shot at office," and I was like, maybe a different word choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forgive me. That's a little bad taste, but God bless him.
So sitting here, this is going to be a weird question. Did you see the blood on his ear in that moment?
I did not. I did not see it. I did see him do this. He was a little too far away from me, and I have my contacts in.
I'm sure it happened so quick.
It happened so quick because I went, in the span of 1 second, he did this, and I ducked. So this was the last I saw of him. I ducked. I turned, I saw a horrific sight. Then I turned back to see him holding up his fist, and the Secret Service were already surrounding him. And by the time he did this, the Secret Service were already jumping up and going towards him to make what I believe they call like a donut to surround him. I believe that's like the correct term. I may be wrong. But yeah, he was right there. And I mean, I spoke with him, and I spoke with him 30 minutes. Like, this was 30 minutes after I talked with him. Because right after he finished the VIPs and special guest meet, he went out. Wow. Because it had run a little late. And I was about halfway, Shrader and S, I was about halfway because it was alphabetical.
Yeah.
And right when he got done, he came out.
Insane.
Forgive me, I get either a little emotional
sure.
or a little animated about it because it's just so surreal.
I bet. Can you is it as
and I have a
vivid
sunburnt wreck.
Yeah, is that from?
That's
I thought
all
you
from that.
Did you scrape your nose from the?
I did not.
That's all
No,
sunburnt?
I did. I actually came out relatively unharmed. I got my pants quite dirty. I was, which is nothing, and I mean compared to what other people went through, it's nothing. I was not injured in any way. I did get down on the ground, and I was sunburned purely because I didn't want to wear a hat because I said I didn't want to mess up my hair before the president. Instead, I looked like a tomato. And I didn't bring sunscreen, didn't even think about it. They were passing out water to the Trump team had tons of water they were passing out, so they were great about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's on me. But
Wow.
getting back to where we were.
Let's keep going.
And we all got a text, those people that were subscribed to this newsletter at the rally, that he was going to announce his VP.
Here?
We got the text saying that I've made my choice. So I could find the exact text and its wording, but it was like, I've made my choice. Who wants me to announce my VP?
Before we continue, did you think it was going to be J.D. Vance, or did you think it was going to be someone else?
I did not.
Who did you think it was going to be?
I knew he was a possibility, and I think it's a great choice. I mean, he seems like a very decent guy. Honestly, I don't know much about him. I know that he's a Catholic. I know that he's
he's very young,
happily
39.
married, which I think is great. There are two types of old. I think there is you're old, and there's you're old. Trump's an older gentleman, but he doesn't seem like it. He has more energy than I have, and I can be very energetic. I mean, the fact that he did a hour-long meet and greet, taking time to talk to everybody, shake everybody's hand, I'd be exhausted after that. And then he gets up and he's pumped and is giving this speech. And then we look at President Biden. I don't know. He doesn't make a lot of sense.
That's an understatement.
I'm not I don't really get on the negativity side, and that's something I really commend Trump with, is that his statements after the event were very positive. But
Yeah. Let's
commend Trump for, or I might have said condemn, forgive me. I think that
Commend.
it's very good, commend, that he's had very positive statements.
Yeah. Well, let's keep going.
Okay, so one, you can see it's funny that, or it's not funny. I had something on my face in these shots. I had been sweating, and yeah, I was just like a wreck. I think I had bitten my lip.
Wow.
This was in the car right afterwards. I had made the choice not to post any videos. Now I have shared them with media outlets. But I had made the decision not to post any of those images just because they're very disturbing. And
I can imagine.
It's not respectful enough to the families.
Yeah.
For media outlets, they have proper teams to decide these things, and they know what's best on that front. But it's not appropriate for me to be posting these type of things. A man was killed, and that's not something that I want to be glorifying or benefiting myself off of course not.
Yeah, absolutely. I respect that.
So I was basically saying I was okay.
Who are those voices with you in the car?
That would have been the gentleman driving, and I apologize, I don't remember his name. Then Sammy,
Okay.
and I have his name, Sammy B, I believe. An acquaintance of mine, nice guy, friend, I'd say now after all this.
Right.
And then Sammy always has lady friends that he
entertains.
that that I'm sure that they're all having a good time together, and there were 3 different girls in the back of the car that had come with him.
Okay.
I was alone. This was going to be an in and out mission for me. I was leaving the next day. I did not tell anybody that I was going to this because I was worried that it wouldn't actually happen. Part of me was thinking it was fake till I got that picture, that it wasn't going to happen. Till I saw my nameplate, part of me was thinking it was fake. And I was thinking, oh, he's going to be late and he's not going to take a picture. But then someone said, Trump always takes all the pictures with the people. So that was me basically telling people that I was safe. I believe I posted this because, and I posted this twice by accident. If you pause and go back just a little.
Yeah, let's go back.
I believe I had posted that. I had already prepared that post. And I had already written a block of text for that post.
Yeah, this is it. And then
and that would have been, it was an honor to meet President Trump. I had a long block of text. I deleted all that and I quickly wrote something out with numerous mistakes in this because I was rushing to write this and I can't spell and I think I use voice to text under distress. And I was putting that up because I was trying to, it wasn't the best way to do it. I was trying to say, it was an honor to meet Donald Trump. I'm most for your shot. God bless him. May he live. And then I was saying I was okay. I don't really remember what I was doing 100% after the event, but continuing. So that I saw on my story, I posted that. I felt that, or I saw it in my feed. I felt that it was appropriate. And then I had taken to my pant leg and I took a photo. I did that so it'd be dark. And I said the person next to me was shot and my hands were shaking. This statement, it needs to be adjusted. It was the person right behind me that was hit. Trump was, yes, the bullet literally whizzed over my head.
You said Trump was okay. Trump was shot. I am okay. And then I literally heard the bullet whiz over my head.
I was also putting this out. My phone was blowing up. Did
your parents text you?
Well, they were the first person I texted when I hit the ground. I had said, love you on ground, not hit.
Wow.
And then Maya, love you on ground, not hot, because I misspelled it. And she thought I'd been hit and had been in such a panic and calling her parents, or her mother. But yeah, so there I was saying it. And this, and forgive me for posting this one, I probably should have taken. I probably should have taken this one down. Oh, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I probably should have taken this one down. I was in shock. Just after my coldness kind of goes away, the adrenaline hits.
Yeah.
And I think that I honestly felt that it was hard to believe. It was hard to believe for myself that I was right there, and anybody else. Yeah, that one probably is something I should have removed.
We'll continue on.
Then I didn't remember posting the first picture of him. I didn't remember at all. So I then posted another. And then I was deeply honored that I had, when I got back to the hotel, I said, okay, this is an important story. The facts need to get out of what exactly happened. I was right there. I spoke to one gentleman that I don't really know well, but he has worked with media and things like that. And then he was shocked, horrified, and we had gotten on a call, and then he had said, okay, this is important. And I believe, and I apologize, I've been saying this man a lot, but well-known host on Fox.
And Fox reached out to you?
Fox reached out to me right after that.
Well,
and that media guy I talking about I said, oh my God, what do I do? And he said, people are going to probably start reaching out to you. They'll find your number. They're going to find you. Mm-hmm. And so my email started blowing up. My phone started blowing up, and I got tons of people saying, this is CNN, this is MSNBC, this is Fox News, bunch of local outlets. And then I started booking the interviews, and I was saying, okay, it's important that this is talked about, and it's important that justice is done to the issue.
Absolutely. And I respect, you coming out here because I think your opinion and perspective is so valuable. Because living in that is unreal, and I think it's going to be used to piece the whole thing together. How years pass, and then people will look back and start hypothesizing and making up their own theories. Happened with Kennedy, with 9/11, with everything. So it's
my birthday, 9/11.
Yeah, Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I agree. I agree that it is important, and I will, as long as I live, I will be saying that this was a very real thing, and that this was not a setup, this was not fake. That that blood I saw was that wasn't fake. That man passing wasn't fake. So I will always say that this was a great tragedy. This was a horrific event. This was an attempted assassination of the president. And whenever the Gen Alphas are coming to me as an old man and asking if this was all staged, I will still be telling them no, because it wasn't.
Yeah, very real, very intense. How do you think this will affect the election this year?
Would you like my honest answer?
Absolutely.
I believe it will help Donald Trump win. Because the defiance he showed. I mean, I have had people talking to me that they were like, oh yeah, man, I didn't really like him, but whoa, he stood up, because he went down for a moment, and then he kind of like made sure that he could get up, and he's like, fight, fight, fight. And I also think there he didn't mean anything, inappropriate by those words. I think it was more of so like, I'm still fighting, I'm still here, I'm not going down. And that that picture that we've seen, the flag, his face bloodied, his fist in the air.
Talking with Kasdan, I think, that's the most important image of the century, I think.
I agree.
At least so far.
Because what you bring up is that this could have been a divergent timeline. And I don't believe in simulation, I don't believe in all the string theories. I choose not to for my sanity. But if it was a quarter of an inch, we'd live in a different world, and we would live in a lot worse world. Whether you like Trump or not, we would live in a lot worse world.
I think that's why the whole thing's so sickening, because we can all foresee that, or look into that reality and be like, we'd be in a very worse state as a nation and as a world, I think. I asked you about, how this affects the election. I think, as history has proven, the closer it gets to election day, the more crazy things get, the more things pop up, right? The October surprise. I fully think, it's going to get weirder and crazier as, we get closer to November. Hot take, I think they're definitely going to swap out Biden.
Really, I disagree. I believe
so?
Biden will run. I believe Biden will be the Democratic Party nominee, and I believe that he will. I believe he will stay in. Only because to swap out Biden is to confirm everything Republicans have been saying. It is to admit his cognitive decline, which and I don't mean to even laugh about it, because it's
my good roommate, Josh.
Oh, it's great to meet you, Josh.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing?
Good.
And then I think we had actually met before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So forgive me for saying good to meet you, because I thought I was like, I recognize you, but...
I recognize you too, of course.
Oh, you're kind. I had someone take a picture with me in the airport when I was going down.
Really?
And I was honored. And I was like, oh, great to meet you. What's your name? I'm Ben. And he was like, I know. And I was honored. But returning to what I was saying about Biden, to swap him out is to confirm everything Republicans have said.
Right.
They don't have another viable person. Kamala Harris is not really well liked. She kind of scares me when she laughs. And I'm usually not super, I don't like to run negatively. I like to focus on positives, but, and I think that society's changed a lot. And I think that it's sad to almost even make fun of Biden for the way that he is. But something's going on, because he seems really old and he seems really off. And that moment when he was saying something on stage, and Trump had said, I'm sorry, I don't know what he said, and then I don't think he knows. It's not a good look. I mean, a real Biden quote, I stood in the foothills of Afghanistan, is what he was trying to say. But forgive me.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yeah. Just talking about big changes, the Democratic convention hasn't even happened yet. RNC's happening now. It's already crazy. I respect your prediction. We'll see in a few months if they swap him out.
We will indeed. We will indeed.
Just seeing more Democrats come out and oppose him, I'm like, I feel like they're going to swap him. But I very much could be wrong. I've been wrong on a lot of things. But
As have I. I very much could be wrong. I'm no political expert.
But, you know, all these, like, things popping up of now, like, Iran threatening Trump on his life. And, like, so it's like...
Was that the threat, like, from... Was that very recently?
Recently, yeah. Well, in the past few days, Iran came out and was like, yeah, we didn't stage that, but we're going to try to do something like that.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking after Soleimani, or what? No.
Oh, yeah. Right after he killed that, like, general, they were like, okay, well, now we're going to kill Trump. But no, this was another one.
Boy, and that's outrageous, but me, I'm very against war. I don't want to see another war.
Right, no.
And I commend Trump. I mean, people said he'd start World War III, and there was not a single war under him. And, I mean, I'm not even the most... I enjoy politics, but I'm not even the most political person. And I look at the world now. I mean, the world seems to be on fire. I mean, Ukraine. I mean, how crazy that Putin invaded Ukraine under Obama, didn't do anything under Trump, and then invaded again under Biden. It's crazy to think about that. And now Israel. And, you know, I love the Jewish community. My best friend, Colton, you know him, he's Jewish. And God bless him. I mean, and it's just, the world seems on fire. And I fear that, you know, I believe that before Xi Jinping dies, he will attempt an invasion of Taiwan. You know, my family fought for the South Vietnamese army. My family, my grandmother's from Vietnam. And I'm no fan of communism. And I know what it did to my family. I know that, let's just say only the women made it out. And so I see the world on fire, and I say, well, things were pretty good under Trump. And then COVID hit, but, you know, I don't 100% blame. I say it was a really bad thing, and he did the best that he could. Nobody really knew what to do at the time. And I feel maybe if he's in again, the world will be a little less on fire.
Yeah. I don't know about the statement of being less on fire. He's a very ignited figure, so we'll see. I
do think that this incident will have a very tempering effect on him, because I believe he will see. I think that I can't, of course, speak for him at all, but I think he definitely would see this as a miracle.
I think so too. Like, I was watching the
his statements after have all been very unity.
And him coming out of the RNC, it's like you never see him emotional at all, but he looked pretty shaken up. I was surprised. I'm like, is he about to cry? When, like, he does not cry.
If there's any occasion for it, it's here. And
that's why I'm like, okay, so this really, like, did something to him.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he changes, if
seeing,
at all.
you know, I've met Donald Trump Jr. and seeing him cry, I can't imagine what it would be like. I mean, imagine losing your father to something like that, and then the spectacle around it, and how people would be talking about it for years. I also have to say that Robert F. Kennedy, I'm not a supporter of his, you know, I don't have anything against him, but I think he needs Secret Service protection. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry that the government is like, oh yeah, we messed up all these times that you. Now, of course, I love the Secret Service. I love the police. I think they did they did their best to protect Trump, everything like that. But speaking about things in the past that the other, you know, multiple other Kennedys were killed. Mm-hmm. Let's not have that happen again.
It's funny because the whole, like, protocol to let candidates get Secret Service in the first place was implemented after Robert Kennedy was assassinated, when he was about to win the Democratic nomination in '68. So after that, they're like, okay, candidates need protection, and they didn't even give it to him. But they they gave it to him this week.
Oh, they did? Okay, forgive me. Yeah. I have been behind the times. Well, I'm glad.
It's a little too late, but, like, yeah, they finally gave it to him.
I also believe that really all of our congressmen and senators, I know it might be expensive, but we waste money on a lot of things, should have some level of security, because these are trying times.
Like, Pelosi's husband got hit with a hammer in his own house.
That's horrific. That is a horrific event, and we don't want this, because, and I'm very against people that are like, people on both sides that might be more radical and say that they would want to see some kind of civil conflict. Do you know what that's like? Do you know what it's like to die of dysentery in a ditch, to watch your friends and family fighting?
Yeah.
We don't want that. We want peace, we want stability, we want gas prices low, everybody happy. We want to be strong, and we want bad people to be afraid of us so that there is no war.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's...
Forgive me,
big
I've been a
statements,
little
yeah.
shaken after all this. I get a little animated.
Sure, and you mentioned a few moments back being interested in politics and kind of getting that into your, you're starting to think about that a little bit more. What does that look like for you? Does that mean like just in the political world, or potentially going into running into some for some office?
I will share the grand plan with you, the grand plan that I've always had. And I'm very open. I tell people exactly what I want.
Okay.
And half the time they don't believe me, and they think that I'm joking or something, but this is literally literally my plan that I've had for years. For me, music has always been something I enjoy. You know, the old line I've used with you guys, college kids like to party. If I control partying, college kids will like me. That's how partially I got into it. And another reason is I saw it as an excellent place to meet powerful individuals and contacts that could help me on the path to politics, to grow some level of influence or to meet the right people. I won't really get into any of this, but some of considerable donors on both sides are involved with some of the largest production companies and venues throughout the country. It is a great place to meet people because everybody loves to party.
Yeah.
Music is a means to an end. It is a means to open doors, and it is opening those doors. I will become very involved soon with some high-profile organizations out here. And then from there, I plan to run for a local office. I believe in starting small. I believe there are many who jump too high and they risk it. They make a fool of themselves. And, well, not any individual I'm criticizing, but that people, I believe that I will succeed because I'm me, but there is no success guaranteed.
Right.
There's not. I'm not destined to succeed. Nobody has that destiny. If I succeed, it is because I worked hard enough, that I talked to the right people. And sometimes life feels like a movie. I don't know how I always do what I do, but I just do my best to be kind and to be respectful and to make the right connections and meet the right people. But going into this, if I'm able to, do anything, I'm not entitled to anything. My inheritance, what I'm entitled to is the dirt. It is what I am strong enough and kind enough that I'm able to take those steps. So I plan to start with local office. Hopefully,
City council?
I'd love that.
Yeah.
Out here. From there, I would love to move to state office, federal office, and then as high as I can get. And that is the end game. That is the grand plan, the genuine truth. I guess two things on this. I genuinely feel that a lot of political types forget how people suffer. They forget that if the price of bread goes up or the price of gas goes up, that actually really hurts people. Mm-hmm. And this is something I saw a lot in the nightlife, that there would be people who might be doing things that aren't the best, or might be engaged in activities that aren't the best. And yes, it's on them, it's their personal responsibility. I'm a huge believer in it.
Right.
But the government needs to make things as ideal as possible for people to succeed. And when the price of gas goes up, when the price of milk and eggs goes up, people suffer. And I feel that politics types forget that.
Yeah.
It's
more about the show of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, he said this, he said that. It's like, people can't afford houses.
Why go into politics if you're going to not make those changes? If you're not going to try, just to go in to have that to be your identity. I am there for that, and then I would like to see a grand reform of the school system. Drudge, the famous reporter, said that culture is downstream from politics. I believe that everything is downstream from education. Education, culture, politics. I believe he who controls education will control the future. We lost a lot on the Overton window, what people see as acceptable shifted very far to the left. Some people would say perhaps too far. And I'm a very reasonable man. I'm no fanatic, but I believe that refocusing education on, teaching that nobody's perfect, no country's perfect, but we're actually pretty good. I mean, we're like pretty good. We've made some mistakes, definitely, but we're not the bad guys. When you see, soldiers of a certain country that invaded another country, when you see Russian soldiers going around and they're committing war crimes on video and things like that, you're like, well, we really tried to stop things like that. There wasn't that when we've been engaged in different wars overall, and in our history.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Shrader, thank you so much for coming on. It's
My
a pleasure.
friend, thank you very much for your time. It was great to catch up with you. Great to see all of you. I thank you guys for watching, and I want to extend my truest of my thoughts and my prayers to the former President Trump. May he recover. May he make a full recovery and be returned to his happy old self. To the family of the people that lost their father, their husband, may they find peace and may he be accepted into heaven. And to those injured, may they make a full recovery. I'm grateful to be here, and thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming on. Thank you.